Hello friends, welcome back. In today's session, let's list all the assigned rules from MySQL database. That is good. Before watching this video, I strongly recommend you to watch our previous video because previously we assigned rules to users. Okay, here we have simple table view, we have ID, username and rule name. Let's fetch all the assigned rules from MySQL database and display them in this simple table view. Let's close the application. And as you can see here, we have simple package, user rule. Inside that, we have different classes like user rule, which is model. We have data access object, service, XML file, and we have controller. Let's create a new model here. Inside that, we want to create a new Java class. For example, user role view, then finish. Okay. Thereafter, let's open MySQL Workbench. As you can see here, we have simple query. This is a join query and return a user role ID, full name and role name. Okay. Based on that, we want to define this class, which is model. As you can see here, we have three properties. We have user role ID, full name and role name. Okay. Let's define these properties. Simple private, and we have user role ID, private string, we have username, we have full name. Okay, thereafter private string, we have role name. Okay, after that, let's generate getters and setter. If you want to select that, right click on that, and here we have insert code. Select getter and setter. Then you want to select all, generate. Okay, all the getters and setters are generated. That is good. After that, what we want to do, let's remove from here. We want to define at the top level. Okay, thereafter, let's create constructor based on these properties. Simple public, for example, user role view, and here we want to add int, for example, user role ID. Hereafter we have string, for example, full name. Then we have string role name. Okay. Let's initialize these fields. We have an error. Why? Okay, and we have full name and we have role name. Okay, let's copy that. Where is the problem? Okay. Thereafter, let's initialize these properties. Simple. This dot user role ID equals, we have user role ID, hereafter this dot full name equals full name, after that this dot role name equals role name. Okay, the model is completed. As you can see, we defined simple properties here we defined a simple constructor, and here we have getters and setters. Thereafter, let's open data access object. So here we have simple method assign rule, and here we have is rule assigned method. Let's define another method to fetch all the assigned rule from MySQL database. Simple, for example, public, and here we want to add return type, for example, list. Let's pass, we have user role view model. Simple user role view. Thereafter, let's add name, for example, get user roles. Okay, so here we have simple error. Let's import that. Thereafter, let's define a new list to store all the user roles. Simple, for example, list, we have user role view. For example, user role, user roles equals new. We want to use, for example, array list. Okay, array list, That is good. After that, let's define a simple variable to store query string. For example, SQL equals. As you can see here, we defined a simple query. You can get this query from the description of the video. There is no problem. Let's copy that. And here we want to assign that. Okay. So thereafter, let's read database connection from JDBC connection class. We have connection package. Inside that we have JDBC connection class. Let's open that. And here we have get database connection method. Let's read database connection from that file. So let's use try catch with resources. Simple connection, for example, link equals, we have JDBC connection dot get database connection method. Okay. Thereafter, let's define prepare statement. Simple prepared statement, for example, ps equals, we have link. On that link, let's use prepare statement method. Okay. Thereafter, let's execute that query first. We want to take result set rs equals, we have ps dot execute query method. Okay. Thereafter, what we want to do, let's define the catch block. And here we want to catch SQL exception. Let's use, for example, SQL exception dot print stack trace. So everything is fine. Thereafter, let's process result set. Simple while result set dot next. And here let's define variables, and to each variable let's add value from the result set. Simple. For example, int we have user role id equals rs dot get int of. As you can see here, we have different columns. We have user role id, full name, and we have role name. Let's copy from that. Okay. Thereafter, we have full name, simple string. For example, full name equals rs dot get string of full name. Full name. After that, we have role name, simple string. For example, role name equals rs dot get string of, we have role name. So everything is fine. Thereafter, as you can see, we created user role view model. Let's open that, and here we have constructor that accepts user role ID, full name, and role name. Let's initialize that. Simple. We have user role view, for example, view equals new user role view, and to that we want to add user role ID, full name, and role name. Okay. So hereafter, as you can see here, we have simple list which is user roles, and let's change that to list. Simple. For example, list. Let's add all the data to that list. Simple list dot add, and we have view. There is no problem. So finally, what we want to do, let's return that list. Simple. For example, return list. Okay. Everything is fine. As you can see, we defined a simple method to get all the assigned roles from MySQL database. Here we have simple list. We have simple join query, and here we read database connection. We defined prepare statement, and here we execute that query, and we assigned all the result set to that result set variable. Okay. Thereafter, we processed result set, and here we initialized user role view, and we added that view to the list. Okay. Thereafter, we return that list. Okay. So thereafter, let's consume that method inside the service class. As you can see, we have service class. Inside that, we have only one method. We have assigned role method. Let's define a new method to consume this method, which is get user rules. Let's define a method here. Simple. For example, public. For example, list. We have user rule view. For example, get user rule. Okay, let's import that. There is no problem. Let's fix that. Thereafter, let's consume data access object method, which is get user rules. Simple. As you can see here, we injected data access object. There is no problem. Let's copy that. Simple. Return, for example, this, and we have get user rules method. So we consume data access object service, which is get user rule method. That is good. After that, what you want to do? As you can see here, we have controller. Here, let's open first, for example, user rules tab. As you can see here, we have table, which is user rule table, and that table has column user rule ID, username, and rule name. First, inside the controller, let's inject that. Simple. Let's copy name of the table, and here let's use fxml. Thereafter, for example, private, we have table, private, we have table view, and to that, let's pass model. For example, we have, as you can see, we have user rule view, simple user rule view, and you want to add name for that. Here we missed underscore. Okay, so thereafter, let's inject each column. First, we have user rule ID, simple. For example, fxml private, and we have table column. Okay, column. To that, let's add row type and column type. We have row type, we have user role view, and column type ID is integer type. Let's add integer. Okay, thereafter, let's copy that. Simple 2 times, and here, as you can see, we have username. Thereafter, we have role name. Okay, we have role name. Username is string type. Let's change that to string, and we have role name also string. Okay, so thereafter, let's define observable list to store all the assigned rules. Simple. For example, private final, we have observable list, and to that, let's add view. We have already user rule view, which is model. Okay, for example, list equals for example, user rule list equals, we have fx collection class, fx collections, then we have observable array list, okay. So everything is fine. Let's set up the table. In the table, as you can see, we have user role ID, we have username and role name. First, let's use user role ID here inside the initialize method dot set cell value factory. Let's initialize with name. We have property value factory, and here let's add user role ID. As you can see in the model, we have user role ID, which is getter. You have to use the same name, because whenever you want to call this, which is user role ID, this actually calls, let's open that, this actually calls this getter method. Okay, thereafter we have another property. Let's open a controller. For that, what we want to do, let's copy that. And here, as you can see, we have username. Okay. Thereafter, we have role name. We have role name. And here to that, let's pass full name. And thereafter, sorry, let's open model. We have role name. Okay. We have role name. Let's open that. We have role name. Okay. Everything is fine. Thereafter, let's initialize table. As you can see, we have table, which is user role table. Let's copy that, and here we want to set items. To that, we want to add user role list, which is observable list. Okay. So everything is fine. Thereafter, let's define handler method here. Simple, for example, private void, for example, get on user roles. And here for the exception, let's use try catch block. Sorry, try catch block. And here we want to catch, for example, exception. Here for the exception, let's use, for example, simple exception dot print start trace. Thereafter, as you can see in the service, we have get user roles. Let's call that method to fetch all the roles from MySQL database. Simple. Let's open controller. Sorry. As you can see here, we defined user role service, and here we initialize the service. There is no problem. Let's use that. Simple. Sorry. We have, as you can see here, we have observable list. We have observable list. To that, we want to add all the items with the help of set all method. And here we have user role list. Sorry, we have service, which is user role service. Okay. Let's call method, which is get user roles. There is no problem. So everything is correct. We defined a simple method. Using that method, we can fetch all the rules from MySQL database because this method calls to the service layer. Inside the service layer, we have a get user rules method. As you can see here, we have get user rules method, and this can call to the data access object because as you can see here, we called get user rules method. This method presents inside the data access object. As you can see here, we have this method. This can talk to the database. There is no problem. Thereafter, let's call that method inside the initialize method. Okay. Okay, everything is fine. Thereafter, let's clean and build the project. Let's run the application to see the result. We want to log in. For example, we have admin, thereafter admin 1 to 3. Let's log in. Let's open manage users. Let's open user roles. As you can see, we got all the rules from MySQL database. We have username and we have role name. Okay. So in our next video session, we want to implement how we can remove rule from the user. There is no problem. If you have any questions, you can write them in the comment. Please like, subscribe, and share my videos. That is enough for today. Have a good day. See you in the next one.